So yeah, that question comes up a lot. Why did I start Serenity? Looking back over, a lifetime, there have been times when I have had to take prescription medications for depression and anxiety, which I just didn't feel fit me at all. I mean, they were terrible, and it was hard to stay on them. And I felt I needed to have an alternative that was different than alcohol. And it took me a long time to accept mushrooms as being that solution. In fact, it was a friend of mine that started doing it back east, and he was promoting the idea, and I was like, that's ridiculous. I did that when I was in college and, high school, and like, I don't need to go back to doing psychedelics. And I realize now that microdosing is an incredibly beneficial, cognitive experience. If you set aside like the party aspect, just microdosing is so good for you. And I'm frequently told this, and I agree, I'm not a medical professional. It's not my place to tell other people what to, put in their bodies for their minds. And I totally agree with that. I wouldn't want someone else doing that to me, but I've sat around in groups of people dozens of times, and I've watched people transform over the course of an evening into this happier version of themselves, which didn't end that night. Yeah, and I gotta say, I couldn't figure that out. Like, how could I be like a happier version of myself after just a small amount of this? And how could I see my friends being like this whole different version of themselves? Not in that moment, but like the next day and weeks after. And it made me super curious. And I started looking into the science behind it and the peer-reviewed studies and the research that's being done. And then, like what prohibits that in the US is like, it's crazy how hard it has been to research this plant. And there's these stories out there that I don't know if I really believe it, but Big Pharma didn't want you to have it. You know, they had other ideas, they had other patents that they wanted you to take, and that may be true, but I think more likely, for some reason, the government had chosen at the time in the 60s to like make this federally prohibited. And just like, like, of course, the researchers at every university and every government lab stopped looking at it. And so it's this hidden gem. It's amazing. So yeah, when people ask me that question, admittedly, I'm taking a great risk, like a great personal risk to try to provide access to something that I feel strongly about. And that's why we've decided to do it in such a small batch, craft kind of handmade way, because we're just not trying to be the cartel. Ah, shit. I believe in it. It has been transformative for me. So, yeah, that's my story.